Welcome to Vote FM Sports. Today we are going to be dealing with Manchester United transfers, all that's happening in their backroom staff, the players they are looking for, the players they want to transfer, the players they want to bring in, and the players they are letting go in the club. They have extended the contract of their coach. They have a clause in that contract. They just extended in making now 2 years that he's going to stay there for 2 more years. Okay, I'm here with my guys. We're going to be talking about all that's happening in Manchester United this summer. So then extending his contract for extra 1 year. Do you think it's a good deal? Because if you look at his records last season, he wasn't actually good. But they decided after all their meeting, they did that 3 weeks meeting, but they concluded that he is the man to take the club forward. What do you think about this one extension they gave him?
You know, when you said this earlier, before now, we always talked about Ten Hag's performance on the pitch and off the pitch. Now you ask yourself, who is the better replacement? Now people will say they're planning on the way to boycott him in the next 1 year and bring in someone special, but I don't want to agree with that for now. But you look at Ten Hag's performance over the last year. You brought in a doctor from Arsenal who doesn't work, stays at home.
You always talk about this doctor.
I don't get it. Can't you just talk about Ten Hag without talking about
I'm coming. See, for you to progress in your place of duty, you have to have the whatever it is that is surrounding you to help you grow in that position. You brought in a doctor that works from home. You brought in a player on loan, and they told you, fine, this player you brought on loan is doing great, but the other players will be ready by January. So you had to let him go by January. Only for those players you brought, only for those players not to be ready till the end of the season. I'm talking about Malaysia and Luke Shaw. Now, these 2 players didn't play much this season, and Reguilon came on loan from Tottenham Hotspur.
And they let him go in
January.
And
they let him go on January transfer window, which now, because the doctor told you Shaw and Malaysia would be available, and till the end of the season, they were not available. Now, whose fault is it? You're going to blame it on Ten Hag. Now, you're playing a defending midfielder at the left back. You're playing Amrabat at left back on loan, another player on loan, and you're saying Man United is spending big. You're playing Casemiro as centre back because Varane throughout this season was injured. Lisandro Martinez was injured. Now, you're playing a man you brought in on a free, talking about Chris Evans, to come into the fold and perhaps help the youth setup grow. Instead, it was at some point everybody felt like Chris Evans coming back to Man United was just come and retire and help the youth setup, just like Phil Jones. But he came into the setup and he's playing full-time football, which was not supposed to be. And everybody is blaming it on Ten Hag. You're not blaming the other factors affecting.
Let's not get into some of these details you are trying to come up with. You are trying to whip up sentiment. You're trying to get people riled up.
It's just
for
the way it is.
For me, let's just call it what it is, okay? For me, I was expecting Erik ten Hag to still be on the job, okay? Because we need to see them cry some premium tears in the coming season. But
like that.
I thought they were going to be giving him a new contract, maybe a 4-year deal, not necessarily an extension, because going into this summer, Erik ten Hag was walking into the last year on his contract, and
the last year his contract was last season.
We're looking he had 1 year.
You see, he has a clause to extend, and they never wanted to take that route. They never wanted to extend the contract.
If
you have a clause on your contract to extend, which means at the end of the contract you might extend or you might just leave. And at some point it was on the exit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Going into the 2024-2025 season, that would have been his final season. If he had played to the end of that this coming season, it would have been his final year. They extended it because they had that clause in the contract. But I thought the communication coming from the Manchester United higher management, talking about the Ineos owners, talking about the Glazers family, and the communication coming to the media, there seems to be a mismatch, because we're hearing rumors of them discussing a new deal. When you say a new deal, my brother, we are expecting a 4-year contract,
deal, not 4-year contract. Who gives you 4-year contract this year?
A 2-year contract, a 3-year contract. But we are not talking and exercising an option. So why did they call it a new deal? Because it's the same base pay, same benefits, and same Manchester United.
You say an option to extend. Kylian had an option to extend last season in his contract. He didn't take it. He was supposed to be in PSG till next season, but he's moving to Real Madrid now because he didn't take that contract. So this is an Ineos team trying to say, okay, fine, you negotiated your first contract with the Glazers. This is us. They handling the football issues. Now let's negotiate a new contract. We are going to bring in players to help you grow. We are going to bring in coaching staff.
But this is not a new contract.
It's a new contract because it's not. This is the first contract.
An option.
This is the first contract. Now this is the contract you're talking about.
They are triggering an option in a contract, not necessarily giving him a new deal, which was what was leaked to the media.
The contract you're talking about is the one he had with the Glazers,
which is the same contract.
Team is looking at, is reviewing the contract, and he's saying, no, we don't want to go on with that contract. We are giving you a new contract, and it's starting from 2024 to 2026. It's 2 years contract.
It's not a 2-year contract.
If he doesn't want to extend,
it's not a 2 year. See,
John,
he already has 1 year left. And they extended it by triggering a clause in an old contract. It's not a pay raise.
Okay,
it's not.
There's a pay raise in it.
No other bonuses. It's just the same stuff. So I do not buy that idea of them calling it a new deal.
That they have decided, Manchester decided to trigger the clause in his contract to extend it for 1 more year, making it 2026. Anything that happened inside that we don't really know. But the statement was they are triggering that option to extend. I know that he spoke with the new management and decided, but what I'm saying that it took them 3 weeks for them to arrive in this situation. Now they are now bringing a whole lot of things. They are bringing a new sporting director. They are trying to change their coaching staff. They are bringing Van Nistelrooy. So do you think that all these things they are making, they brought in a new recruitment, Mr. Christopher, he is the head of
Let's not also forget now that there's also the downsizing which is to come, to downsize Manchester United backroom staff from 1,150 people down to 850, which is also going to be coming in an attempt to cut costs at Manchester United. Okay, so but let's just say, looking at this whole scenario now, at the end of the day, once the season starts, Erik and I won't have the excuse of backroom staff. He won't have the excuse of players getting injured. He won't have the excuse of not being supported, not having the right players brought in, because it appears to be now that all things are being put in place to support this man. And at the end of the season, he would have no other person to blame than himself.
You know, if Man United, you mentioned Man United, John's antenna is always standing. Like only here they stand. Like wolf, we see, you understand, pray. Now let me call you back to attention. Man United has, for the past 10 years since Alex Ferguson left, has not had a very good working standards around the pitch.
Granted,
if you notice. Now, a team trying to build it does not mean a coach will be making excuses of the fact that this thing was not working. Mourinho went to the media at some point. Van Gaal didn't go to the media. It wasn't working, yet Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finished second on the Premier League table for 2 years in a row. Went to 6 finals. Europa finals, FA Cup finals, and all of that.
Which was a miracle, if you look at it.
Which miracle is that?
Yes, it was
with the team, with the player he was playing, with the crop
players his predecessor gave him.
The same Man City fans and Man United fans says the backroom staff of Ole was not working. They had to let Michael Carrick go. Look at what he's doing at Middlesbrough. They let McKinnon go. Look at what he's doing at Ipswich Town. He brought them to their first Premier League position season for the first time in a very long time. Now, you say McCarthy is not good enough for Ten Hag. He's leaving now. Perhaps he'll take a coaching job somewhere else. And you see that he's doing fantastic. But the atmosphere at Man United is not really impressive. If you're at Man United right now, you wouldn't want to go there. You wouldn't want to go. So now they want to bring in new set of players to help Ten Hag, not really make excuses on him.
Now they're giving him a new contract. They have brought him a new recruitment of
new contract.
They triggered the extension for him. They are bringing all. I think it's what they actually agreed in the meeting. New sporting director, new recruitment director. Everything is now in place. Now, I don't think that he has an excuse. But now, what is remaining now is to get players. So if you are looking at, I don't think the goalkeeper department is settled. So Anana is going to stay there for another season or maybe 2 more seasons. But now they still have a problem with defense. They let go of Varane. And Martinez is not really 100% fit throughout the season. So they need 2 more players. They was linked with Tobido. They were linked with Brightwith. They are linked with not the Leeds.
Even Larry Yoro.
So they need 2 defenders. Which 2 defenders do you think that is fair, is suitable? They need in that team. They need actually 2 defenders.
For me, if you ask me, looking at the Manchester United back 4 now, I think that Manchester United need 2 world-class centre halves.
They are linked with the They are in talks with the
in that defense right now. They need 2 world-class centre backs, and they need 2 full backs playing in that left back row. You get me? Because let's look at it categorically. For crying out loud, how old is Luke Shaw? How old is Malacia?
His injury.
If you ask me, these are players that we should be giving them, maybe give Luke Shaw or Malacia 1 more year extension and then move them on. Bring in 2 credible left fullbacks that can play in that position.
Move on Kai Walker from Aston and see how it goes.
Forget about that's not what I'm talking about here. Bring in 2 left fullbacks that can play in that position. And Mian talks about bringing back Reguilon. I don't know if that's going to play out.
John is
but
saying.
Let's have a clean break. You have a player that is super injury prone. You have a player that is on that left full back who is a very good left full back, but who has been, out with injuries. I think Manchester United need a clean break. You move on those 2 players in the left full back position. You move on all the other centre backs you have there. Leave only Licha Martinez and bring in 2 players that are at least better than what you have that can improve the defensive game. Arsenal did it with talking about Gabriel Magalhaes, and you talk about William Saliba.
John, calm down.
A couple of other clubs in Europe have done it too.
When you talk about Man United, don't talk about the Arsenal, because you talk about William Saliba. He came into Arsenal. He went on loan twice, 2 years.
He was signed in. He wasn't loaned in.
He was loaned. He was
signed in and sent out on loan.
That's what I'm saying. You buy a player, you send him on loan, and now Man United has 2 players, credible players that could play in that position. There's a Harry Maguire that's always fit.
Harry Maguire that should be sold.
There's a Lisandro Martinez.
You are talking about Harry Maguire as if he's a credible replacement for Licha Martinez.
He's not a replacement. He's not a replacement. We're not talking about replacement. We're talking about pairs.
He's a backup. At best,
we're talking about pairs that could do great. Maguire last season was fantastic. You saw him.
Come on, man. Did we watch the same Premier League?
We are watching the same Premier League. It's you that is not seeing the good side of Maguire.
Did we watch the same Premier League?
This is the same Maguire that was criticized 2 years ago. That was heavily criticized in the media and everywhere. Even in Man United fan base, we criticize him. But coming out strong and being the best player in the Man United defense line over last season, I think you would know that he's the player
Man U fans will have to be the best judge of that. I think Maguire should be exited with speed and alacrity.
Before the season started last season, they weren't selling to West Ham.
They wanted to. And Scott McTominay got those 2 players were the best players in Man United.
The first 2 defenders for match time would have been Varane and Lisandro Martinez. But they wanted to use Maguire as a backup. So at some point they wanted to sell him. So I get where John is going to. Because of injuries, Maguire came and did a fantastic job. So they need 2 defenders. They are talking with Delete now. Probably they have that deal go through. Even though I also don't like Delete. I don't know why he has a problem with Delete.
For me,
he's a good defender for me.
They are diverse
for you is a good defender because you want to see Man United cry next season.
Todibo in the market. Todibo is in the market. There's Branthwaite in the market. There's Upamecano in the market. There's a Jonathan Tah in the market. I can go on. There's a Jose Maria Gimenez in the market.
Jonathan is not in the market.
There's a Nicolas Sule in the market. There's a Kim Min-jae in the market. I can go on and on. There is a personal Kimpembe in the market. Let's go on. There are over 1,000 quality centre halves you can buy and bring in. Why are you holding on to Harry Maguire? This is the same Maguire that will come in and make one mistake now. The fans will be on the shoulder again. Are we doing a club project here? Or are we here to win games and win titles?
If you like, mention 25, 30 defense centre halves that could take that position. None of them will fit. At some point, Man United wanted to go for Koulibaly. At some point, they wanted to go for Van Dijk. At some point,
that's because they have recruitment issues. Manchester United.
At some point, they wanted to go for Maguire when he was still at Hull. I'll still refer him when he was at Hull City. He was far better than Van Dijk when he was at Hull City. He made that trajectory all the way to Leicester, and Man United overpaid for him.
Form fades.
Form does not fade. If you want to know if form fade, when after all the critics of last season and wanted to be shipped out, if form fades, when he came back to the Man United fold, he would have been terrible. But he came back and he was one of the best defenders in that position.
He came back because he had high adversity quotient. Not because form did not fade. He has high adversity quotient. And at some point, you use that as fuel to push yourself forward.
Don't. Now, but for me, at some point,
that is not what Manchester United need at this certain point in time.
At some point, Scott McTominay in that same transfer list was about to be shipped out to West Ham United. It would have been the best replacement for Declan Rice leaving. But what happened? He didn't go because the price or somehow didn't work out between the both clubs. They were expecting 50 million and West Ham were willing to pay 30 or 35 million quids, and he didn't go. Now you saw him come back and he's one of the highest goal scorer for Man United and the best midfielder outside outside Bruno Fernandes
Put it in
the Man
context.
United.
Put it in context now, because this is Manchester United playing without a striker up front. You have the misfiring Rasmus Højlund up front, who is not giving you goals. You have Garnacho, who is just there to dribble and cross the ball.
Okay,
and so Scott McTominay has had to step up to the plate.
Let me conclude
not necessarily
this
because
midfield.
they have.
Let me conclude this particular thing, because I don't think Max Tomlin should be a first team player for Manchester United at now. They should ship him out. For me, that's my own suggestion. I think Maguire should be,
Man City fan, all these rival clubs, they just want to make Man United
I think
look miserable
Maguire
one way or the other.
Do you know why? Let me give you a reason why, guys. Because the media is always on them. If Maguire makes one mistake, it will affect the whole Manchester United team, because the media will be on him always. That's what I think. Now, if you move on to the midfield, they are looking for some few midfielders to show up their midfielder, because they can't trust this 18-year-old boy throughout the whole season. They are looking for Ugarte. So he was injured in this Copa America, but I think he is going to be all right. Do you think he's the right man now to fit into this Manchester United squad?
Let's just put things in perspective, right? We have a Casemiro who is 32,
32,
who is edging out of a contract to Manchester United. We are not seeing that vision for the future of bringing in a 24, 25, 26 year in the DM position. Rather, they are looking at somewhere creative in the midfield. And of course, you have a Bruno Fernandes. Maybe they are looking at a replacement or someone who can come in when he's not fit or injured and do a job. But I would be more worried about that, getting a DM as well for Manchester United. And then we also have the issue of Rashford. Now, is he staying? Is he going? They also need a winger in that position. And it's but let's not forget that time is ticking. They still have almost 20 days. Ticking.
20 days. Now, so in their striking department, they are letting go Greenwood, obviously. Then Sancho might leave. The only player
Sancho is leaving,
because now they are giving him the coach the new contract. I don't think unless he comes back and kneels down and apologizes.
Yeah, extending his contract, not giving
come
him
back and apologize. So, but if he's not, then probably he's leaving. So, what do you think that the only striker they are actually targeting now is Zesky? He's not even playing for the national team in Netherlands. So, apart from Zesky, do you think Zesky can improve Manchester United attack, or they need another profile, another attacker to help?
John will say something different. Let him go first.
Yeah, for me, if you look at Manchester United attacking options now let's take away the wing back, the wingers. Okay, let's just consider squarely the target men, the men who play in that 9 position and who can score goals.
Just have only one person.
Talking about Rasmus Højlund and this guy now who they are looking to bring in. I feel like they are looking to bring in Zesky to complement Højlund, so that both of them now can be that target man for them going forward. Either you're going to play both of them up front, or one is going to feed off the other, or one will come off the bench for the other. But these are 2 players of comparably same age who can come in and develop at the club. But I do not see either of them as alphas. I do not see either of them as alpha strikers.
When you
talk about alpha strikers, you look at a certain Erling Haaland, Osimhen coming up first. You also look at Osimhen. So I want
John, alpha strikers. Let's go into the list of alpha strikers. Who knew that Kaka would be a better player for AC Milan? It's a question.
You have to gamble on this.
You gamble on it. Who knew that Ronaldo would be the world-class player he is right now? They gambled on it. Who?
People did.
Nobody did.
Sir Alex Ferguson did.
You gambled on it.
He made that move.
Who knew that the likes of let's now come to the recent year players now. What's it called? Kylian Mbappe moving to Real Madrid at Monaco. Who knew he was going to be this big at Monaco?
At Monaco, it was already done and dusted.
His first 2 seasons at Monaco,
it was already done
there
and
was
dusted.
no result until he moved to PSG and started seeing his first move. That season he moved was when we saw glimpses of how good he would be, and at PSG he was great. Haaland at mode. You watch the Champions League. Haaland at mode when he was playing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Who knew he was going to be this good? Solskjaer knew because he coached him, he trained him. Now we're still coming forward. Nketiah was given a whole season at Arsenal. What was the result like? Was still the same gamble on somebody young. Man United for the past 4 years, every striking the position, I'll tell you, were above 30 when they came in. Weghorst 33, Igalo 32.
Abramovich
Was about 32 when he came in. Cavani, when he came back to Man United, was 34 or so. Now look at these players. I could go on and call the players of striking options they've brought in since Ferguson left, and they were all above 30. Now you need someone young to grow the team, and you're telling me they are big fat players.
Let's not forget. Manchester United went for these players because they didn't have the financial muscle to sign those big names. If you look at Erik ten Hag's list when he was coming into the club, he made a list of who he wanted, and they couldn't get those players, so they went for cheaper options. So now, at this same age now, you're talking about age as a factor. I don't think age is a factor. I'm talking about players, star power, star performance.
That is what I'm saying. When they brought in all these players that I listed before, how was their star rating?
Rasmus Højlund is in the same bracket. Osimhen is in the same age bracket. Osimhen has the track record. He has the in Napoli. You are talking about strikers in that position. Look at this man playing for Belgium. Lois Openda has 20-something goals. You are talking about the same age bracket. Look at somebody across the lake doing the same thing. A Julian Alvarez, look, talking about the same age bracket. Go into Serie A, you have Rafael Leao, you have Lautaro Martinez. So why, for crying out loud, isn't Manchester United looking at these young players in those positions, bring one in and bring somebody to help this guy in?
Comes in. That is where Joshua comes in.
Come on.
That's where Joshua comes in.
Okay, now
we're talking about age bracket. Rashford has more shot conversion rate than every other player his age in the Premier League.
Show me the goals.
It's not about the goals. It's where you create. Now they create more chances for the other person in London. And what happened?
Show me the goals. That's all I'm saying.
All this stats about goals and it's tiring, man. It's tiring. Please.
When it comes to striker, it is numbers. Even if you score create 10,000 chances and don't score goals, everybody will actually not believe you. For Manchester United, they need a striker that can actually score goals for them. Whether Højlund missed a whole lot of chances, and
name 2 chances he missed. He didn't miss more chances.
His conversion rate wasn't actually good that much. Do you understand? So they need somebody. For me, I think probably a top striker like Osimhen should go there and be a first team player for Manchester United. Now they have a whole lot of backroom staff. They are being head of recruitment, head of management. They are changing everything about management. So Ten Hag don't have any reason to fail Manchester United next season. So let's see how they are going to play. I hope they play well, but for me, I hope they cry. See you guys next time.